Hey, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the abscesses. So, for example, the facial abscesses, you can think about that. So, the major example is the facial abscesses. So, the abscesses can be internal and external on the basis of the different situation. For example, the internal is inside of the brain, external is outside of the skin, and liver is also internal, and lungs basically also internal and external also. So on the other hand, the tooth abscesses is basically also internal. So in this way, the brain, so the collection of pus in the brain caused by bacterial or fungal infection, we will discuss later in this video. So please watch the whole video to understand. So on the other hand, the skin. Skin is basically the mostly external, most common on skin surface by hormonal changes and bacterial. Anorectal is basically the inside of the digestive system. So the periapical and subcutaneous, also this is the basically the internal. The liver is the mostly internal, liver by bacterial infection. So it can cause the pus formation in the liver, will lead to cause progression of the abscesses. Abscesses severity on the basis of the situation. For example, more inflammation lead to more abscesses. The lungs basically caused by aspiration of food or liquid. So on the other hand, the tooth abscesses due to the root of the tooth by bacterial infection. So in this way, basically is the internal and external on the basis of situation. So anyhow, on the other hand, let's understand about the causes as well as the treatment. Then we will understand the pathophysiological aspect. So the causes is and the treatment is. So the treatment is in incision and the drainage. So the drainage of the pus. So the pus draining and antibiotic we can use externally, exogenously, or by the oral. Or on the other hand, the warm compress and pain relieves and sitz bath like the warm bathing, which that is basically important for that things. Causes of the abscesses is bacterial, fungal, amoebic, septic, the basically the most bacterial, and the sterile, non-bacterial. So no bacteria involved as the sterile due to the injury or something. So let's understand about the pathophysiology. So pathophysiology means first we will understand the inflammatory response. So inflammatory response due to the injury of the skin outside. So for example, it can also occur in the inside, like the you can think about that basically a fistula in the digestive system. So here is the UV radiation also affect the cell to UV radiation to damage the DNA, and on the other hand, important thing is that the invasion of the pathogen from the hair follicle side. On the other hand, the injury. So injury will allow to dermis rupture and the barrier immunity rupture will lead to facilitate the movement of pathogen inside of the skin is the dermis. So the dendritic cell will recognize Langerhans cell are present in the skin, our digestive system. So in this way, it will recognize the antigen, and also it will also recognize the DNA damage and the damaged cell, the inflammatory cell. In this way, the local cells attacked release cytokines, and cytokines trigger inflammatory process. So in this way, the inflammation will progress. But this is the inflammatory response. This inflammatory response due to the dendritic cell also recruit the neutrophil, where the pathogenicity progression. So where the pathogens will attack and inflammation will occur due to the rupturing of the skin. So the neutrophil will move where the inflammation will occur due to the dendritic cell recruitment through the cytokines and antigen presentation, but mostly cytokines, and the neutrophil basically will endocytosis of the pathogen and the other debris, and in this way it will convert into the necrotic neutrophil, and this require 2 to 24 hours. After 2 to 6 days, within the 2 to 6 days, the abscesses formation will occur. This abscesses formation basically the necrotic neutrophil, the dead neutrophil, basically will collapse together with the healthy neutrophil, and in this way, the basically important thing is that the formation of fibrous capsule will occur with a mature abscess, and in this way, important thing you should need to understand the mononuclear phagocyte. mononuclear phagocytes will occur. This phagocyte recruitment, and in this way important thing is that the continued leukocyte recruitment and phagocytosis will occur. Important thing is that basically this continued leukocyte recruitment and other phagocytes cytosis will occur, like the macrophage, but the mostly neutrophil. And neutrophil will go where the fibrous capsule formation with the stable capsule, and in this way the liquefactive and coagulative necrosis will occur. This is a very basically other things, and extracellular DNA collection and necrotic neutrophil and other dead cell basically will collapse together with the covering of fibrous capsule, stable capsule, and this is the mature abscess formation with the thickness of the fibrous capsule and the further recruitment of the neutrophil, a healthy neutrophil and the dead necrotic neutrophil will collection of these things. And the dendritic cell also trigger the CD4 and 8 cell T helper cell will trigger the IgE from the B cell production of antibodies, and these antibodies basically activate the mast cell when the Fc receptor will bind with the long chain of the antibodies to bind the bacteria, the pathogen, whenever the pathogen will move into the blood circulatory system. So in this way, the histamine production, the degranulation of the mast cell to histamine production will lead to progress the allergic reaction, and in this way it will lead to trigger the invasion of the neutrophil due to the permeation, endothelial permeation due to the histamine. Basically histamine will permeate the permeable endothelial formation. So in this the blood vessel will basically permeate, and in this way 6 to 14 days required for it. And in this allergy reaction due to the endothelial dysfunction due to the mast cell degranulation of the histamine, the allergic mediators and other allergic mediators will recruit more neutrophil, and in this the neutrophil collection will occur, will lead to cause abscesses formation. Abscesses can be severe or less severe on the basis of the situation. For example, the fistula in the anal area, which that is most severe, but the pimple on the skin is very less severe. So I hope you make sense about the abscesses. So it is the inflammatory response due to the neutrophil activation and the dendritic cell recognition. I hope you make sense about that. See you in the next video. For this time, bye. Allah Hafiz.